This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, for March the 29th, which is my late grandmother's birthday, by the way, um, is a former baseball player and current front office executive. He is actually minority owner of the Oakland Athletics, who might be moving to Las Vegas anytime soon. Ed is actually a minority owner of Barnsley Ed Akbar soccer teams over in Europe. He was in the MLB for 5 years and then joined Oakland's front office as a scout, made GM, and then promoted to executive vice president. You know who he is. If you know the most famous Oakland front office person around, and of course, his statistical analysis, known as sabermetrics, have changed baseball forever with new stats and all that. He's the guy behind Moneyball, the baseball economics, that book that was actually made into a 2011 movie starring Brad Pitt as this guy. His name is Billy Beane, the president of baseball operations for Oakland. He is 62 years old today. He was born in Orlando, but grew up in Mayport, Florida, and San Diego as part of a career military family. He went to Bat Carmel High School in San Diego and did decent. However, scouts were enamored with Beane's talent. There were rumors circulating that Stanford wanted Billy Beane to come in on a joint baseball football scholarship and be the new starting quarterback for Stanford after John Elway would leave. However, he went and all that. The rumors that Billy Beane was going to be the number one draft pick in the 1980 baseball draft by the Mets. They liked his talent and considered picking him with the first pick and all that. But because teams believed he would attend Stanford and not sign with a professional team, he dropped in the draft. The Mets instead went with a safe number one overall pick, Darryl Strawberry, which actually worked out for them. Ironically enough, because the Mets had two other first round picks in the 1980 MLB draft, they were able to draft Beane as is with the 23rd pick. Beane decided to sign with the Mets for $125,000, of course, for going college and all that. The funny thing is that the Mets actually signed Darryl Strawberry to play rookie ball, whereas Beane was assigned to Class A, players dropped out of college. Beane would struggle and could not make the adjustments and all that. Darryl Strawberry would make massive adjustments and become the Double A MVP in 1982, while Beane batted 220. Beane would question his talents and all that. He would play 5 games for the 1984 New York Mets and spent a lot of time with AAA, called up to the 85 Mets for 8 games and all that. He did lead Norfolk, the AAA team, with home runs and RBIs. The Mets decided they had enough and traded Beane to Minnesota for Tim Teufel, who would become part of the 1986 World Series champions. There were rumors that Beane was going to be the left fielder for the Twins over Mickey Hatcher, but he had injuries that had affected this. He did play in 80 games for the 1986 Twins. And then the Twins would send Beane after spring training in 1987 to AAA. He appeared in 12 games for the 1987 Minnesota Twins, as the Twins would win the World Series. However, he would not get a World Series ring. The Twins would trade Beane to Detroit in 1988 before spring training. He did make the opening day roster only as an injury fill-in, and then once the guy came back, he went to AAA. Billy Beane would play 6 games for the 1988 Tigers and signed with Oakland in free agency. He played in 37 games for the 1989 Mets, batting .240, he won 79 at bats. Unfortunately, that was not enough to get him a World Series ring. So twice in 3 years, he played for a World Series champion, but didn't play enough for him to get a World Series ring. Anyway, he was not really liking the minor league player lifestyle, so Beane would approach Oakland GM Sandy Alderson to be an advanced scout, which he was granted. And then till '93, when he was promoted to be assistant GM of the A's, he was tasked with scouting minor league players. All that. So anyway, Sandy Alderson actually taught Billy Beane, who was, the assistant GM, to value sabermetrics and the fact that, teams were not using sabermetrics. Beane would become Oakland General Manager October 1997 and had a cost effectiveness. For example, in the 2006 season, the A's were 24th in salaries, but had the 5th best regular season record. With Beane at the helm and his Moneyball activities, the A's would make the playoffs 4 times in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, they couldn't get out of the first round each year. It was weird because the 2002 team won 20 consecutive games, making them the first AL team to do so. And unfortunately, they fell in the first round to Minnesota, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, that's when Moneyball was huge. Fortunately, Beane would get Oakland a playoff series win over Minnesota in the ALDS, but unfortunately, Detroit would sweep them in the ALCS. Finished off by Miguel Ordonez's 3-run home run in Game 4. Boston gave Beane an offer to be their GM by 2002, but he declined. He kept getting contract extensions by the A's and all that. There were criticism of Beane and his approach from 2006 to 2012 in the era that the A's did not make the playoffs. A lot of people think Moneyball changed how players were valued, and Beane had become concentrated on high school players in the MLB draft, saying that they were heavily undervalued and would have their draft strategies focus more on defensive skills. It was all emphasis. Although the A's would miss the 2010 playoffs, they did lead the MLB in defensive efficiency and gave up the fewest runs in the AL, meaning their offense sucked. In the 2012 season, the A's would win the AL West title on the last day of the regular season, but it was prompted by Texas blowing a 5-game lead with about a week left. So Texas with a giant blow up job. The A's would return to the playoffs in 2013 by winning the AL West Division title again. Anyway, it looked pretty impressive. Beane in 2015 was promoted to Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations, meaning that David Forst would be the GM now. So he's the new head of baseball operations for the A's. In soccer, he wanted some kind of system, but he has Barnsley, small stake in Barnsley, and A's said Akbar. NetSuite, the software company, named Beane to its board of directors. They wanted him to involve in the company because of his ability to combine facts with instinct. Beane was a consultant for the video game MLB Front Office Manager. And of course, we all know about everything. Michael Lewis made Beane the subject of his 2003 best-selling book, Moneyball, The Art of Winning an Unfair Game, exploring Beane's methods as GM of the A's and how he used sabermetric principles to field a winning team despite a low payroll, influencing baseball and all that. There would be a 2011 film, Moneyball, which Beane was portrayed by Brad Pitt, and the assistant Peter would be named portrayed by Jonah Hill. But anyway, it got Brad Pitt an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Beane was married to, his first marriage was involved a daughter, but he's now married to Tara, having twins. So anyway, it was just huge how Billy Beane just brought baseball to the forefront of everything. And, using sabermetrics and the little known stats and all that. It was actually the influence for a Simpsons episode in which Lisa takes over Bart's Little League team and uses those sabermetrics and all that, but Bart is not happy because it feels like Lisa's taking the fun out of baseball. Hijinks ensue. It's not me reviewing the Simpsons episode, it's just the facts. And Billy Beane had the facts. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, a Duke.